All right. Good morning, Wichita and surrounding areas. I'm going to try not to look at my watch today to let you know what day it is, what date, the time.
No, instead you're going to do it in your pajama pants from home.
For some reason, last week I was like, okay, well, it's February 2nd. No, it's February 9th today, Tuesday, 11 a.m. I believe this is our 10th episode of Crimecast, or the Wichita Police Department's effort to bring you up-to-date hotspot crime stat information in hopes of making you safer and Wichita safer, preventing crime, trying to do a little proactive policing here. With me, of course, I'm Lieutenant Scott Bruno. I'm assigned to the Wichita Police Department Auto Theft Section, and with me, Officer Charlie Davidson. Charlie?
Good morning, Wichita. Appreciate everyone joining in. Hope everybody's staying warm and staying safe. It's awfully cold. It feels like, doesn't feel like it's, well, I guess it does feel like it's February, doesn't it? I mean, it's cold still. But appreciate everybody being here. It's as cold as the Chiefs were on Sunday.
That's a good way to put it. Yep. I say Tampa Bay's defense just did a pretty good job, I think.
Yeah. I wish it was as warm as Tampa Bay's defense. Let's put that.
There you go. That's a good way to put it too. So I'm having to quarantine. I have a family member in the household that has had a positive test on COVID. So I am quarantining at home and coming to you from my office. A little bit of change of scenery here.
In pajama pants.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Okay.
I had COVID back in October, and so kind of my second bout with the quarantining here. So you had has it run through you yet, Charlie, or do you want to say?
No, it hasn't. Not directly. My kids were exposed and had to quarantine, but I have not. I have not. So I've been staying healthy.
Good. It's so, I'll tell you what, it's just weird how it just moves, because when I had it, my wife was out of town when I initially got it for the week. So when she came home, I was already several days into it and had already set up in the spare bedroom, keeping my distance from her, and she didn't get it. And then a month later, my oldest son got it, and my wife had been around him, and again, she didn't get it. So I thought, wow, she's either, immune to it or just really resilient. So apparently, though, it caught up to her.
Well, hopefully she's doing okay, and we keep her in our thoughts and prayers. She gets better quickly.
Yep. Hello to Cassie Hollinger. I see her tuning in. She says, hi, Bruno. And Tammy Courtois. Says, good morning. Jenny Baker.
Karen Buchanan been on every single episode.
Yep. Kim St. John.
Yep. From Washington State. Is it cold out there?
Hello to Kim Ostrander, Rich Patterson. Hello. All right, let's move into what we're here for. Oh, I need to share my screen first. Crimecast, larceny from autos. Last week compared to the week before, over here on the left-hand side of the screen, we're up 22%. So we had quite a few more cars broken into and larcenies even, from the vehicle itself. Month to month, we're up 3%, and then 15% year to date. 764 larceny autos over here on the right-hand side compared to 665 last year. And a lot of those, again, are associated with our catalytic converter thefts, which we highlighted last week, and we'll bring up and talk about probably once a month at the beginning of each month, that and guns being stolen from cars. Larceny from auto hotspot in the last 28 days, we're looking at Woodlawn up north and K96 in this area here. And over along Rock Road in K96, again, there's a lot of apartment complexes, a lot of businesses in this area. And where that happens, we just see a lot of larcenies that occur. Pawnee and Broadway, this is a continuing hotspot. Again, you have the Walmart that sits over here on this corner, a couple large apartment complexes down in here, and several cars that have been broken into in that area. Our auto thefts, last week compared to the week before, we're up 17%. We had 69 stolen compared to 59 the week before that. Month to month, we're exactly the same, sitting at 250 cars reported stolen. And year to date, 340 so far this year compared to 221 last year. We're up 60%. That is a large increase. And it's really across the board as far as reasons why. So a hot spot for the last 28 days, Central and Ridge Road out on the west side of town. And again, we've got a lot of apartment complexes in this area up here, residences, and a few businesses in this area to the south, and apartment complexes as well, right along Ridge Road here between Maple and Central. So if you're living in those areas, keep your cars locked up, park in well-lit areas. Don't leave your cars running or your keys in your car. And Meridian and Central, this is the last 28 days. A lot of cars stolen in this area along Kellogg here. Here's Meridian right almost in the middle of the screen running north and south. Just a lot of cars stolen in this area. We also have, this is kind of a recovery hotspot as well, or we've seen where cars are just kind of being stolen in this area and then driven a short ways and parked and then being recovered. Here's one recovery hotspot. Here's Harry down here, so south part of town and Broadway, and then up along Lincoln and Main Street in this area, south and west. And then over along Seneca as well, kind of a few cars recovered. Seneca and Harry over to Broadway and Harry area. Our residential burglaries last week were up 15%. That's on the left-hand side of your screen. 31 burglaries compared to 27 the week before that. And these are residential burglaries as well. In the last month, 100 we're up 5%, 118 compared to 112. That's in the middle of your screen. And year to date, we're down 6%, 148 residential burglaries compared to 158 last year.
We were down for the year last year too on residential burglaries, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you are right. Yep. We've had a good trend of the residential burglaries declining. So we like to see that. We'd still like to get them down further. Hotspot for residential burglaries, Murdoch Avenue. Here's Main in the middle of your screen, Market, Broadway, Topeka. Just kind of the core area downtown here. We had 3 residential burglaries that happened in that area. And that's the end of the slideshow. End of the PowerPoint for this week.
We got a few questions here. LT, pop them up here. Elizabeth Montgomery joining in with us. Hello, Elizabeth. Thanks for tuning in. Asking how we're handling major crime, major increases in these crimes. I'm sure you're talking about the catalytic converters and the auto theft, since that's what we're referring to. I will say in Part 1 offenses at the end of 2020, overall, we were down 3%. So a lot of work our officers, our detectives are doing is helping locate those individuals involved in these in different types of crimes. But a rise in violent crime we saw across the nation, and really need to be a lot of research to be done to try to determine exactly, you know, what are all the causes. Chief Ramsey talked about it in his first video or first vlog last week on his YouTube channel. I will post it in the chat. Take a look there. You can get some information there as well. Do you want to add anything to that, Lieutenant?
Well, you know, I'd like to say it's really kind of a perfect storm of just circumstances leading, I believe, to some of these. And, you know, I don't have statistical facts. It's kind of just seeing with COVID, with quarantines, with lockdowns, with unemployment, with courts being closed, with jails not housing people. You know, you've got some repeat offenders, some of that stuff that's happening. And it's just a lot of it's opportunity, crimes of opportunity as well. So we're trying to do what we can. We've stepped up enforcement on the catalytic converters. Auto thefts, like I say, I've seen an increase in rental car, auto thefts. I've seen cars being stolen just for catalytic converters. I've seen cars being stolen just for joyriding or just to be driven, a mile or two and then abandoned. They're being stolen to be stripped. I've seen an increase in auto thefts as well being recovered in surrounding areas and across Kansas, really. So a lot of cars being stolen in Wichita and driven to other areas. What's driving that? I don't know. So that's something we're always looking at and trying to figure out why. Well, I see it.
Oh, did you have another one? Do you have another one?
No, I just seen Emily Stitt just asked about running vehicles and car thefts. And yeah, we've seen an increase there as well. Over the weekend, there was 3 cars that were stolen, which was pretty low for a weekend. Because today in the auto theft queue, there were 3 just overnight or into today that were left running. So that's still one that I don't get why that happens. It's easily preventable. So
how about types of cars? I mean, I know Hondas, sometimes we've seen in the past, they've been like the #1 stolen car. What are you seeing anything here locally like that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think year after year, there's an era of Hondas through the 90s and the early 2000s. They're just real easy to steal. And Honda Accords and Civics will always top the list, along with Chevy Silverados and Ford F-150s. Those 3 vehicles in that same era, 1990s to into the early 2000 models, are just easy to steal. So,
okay. We'll jump back to Kim St. John. She was saying she grew up in Augusta, came to Wichita, but it seems crime's going up. Like I said last year, Kim, our Part 1 offenses were down 3% at the end of the year. Now, we did see some spikes in some violent crime, but our burglaries, our property crimes, all were down last year. So, crime really ebbs and flows. I think as a police department, we're trying to be proactive and continue to share information about what we're seeing in those hot spots. So that may be why it gives you that impression that, well, crime's going up because we're constantly talking about crime, but we're trying to just get the information out. We're trying to say, hey, this is where we're seeing some sort of increase right now, or where we're seeing a decrease, things of that nature. At the end of the week, I usually post on Facebook and Twitter our high auto theft locations again, also high larceny from auto sections, larceny from auto, what am I trying to say, Lieutenant? Areas. There we go. Areas. So that people are aware. They can call if they see information. What else? Let's see.
A couple of questions, or at least one, just about the death of Jesus Fernandez. And I don't have any information put on that. You're one of the public information officers. I don't know if you have anything to release.
No, we actually, let's see, who asked that one? Oh, Jordan, appreciate asking that question. A very tragic case. Our thoughts and prayers as the department continue to go out for the friends and families associated with this tragic incident. We have sent out a news release. If you have not seen that news release, you can go to wichitapolice.com, go to About Us, to the public relations section. All our news releases are put on there. That's the information we released right now. There's been two arrests made in that case currently, and we're still investigating it. So that's kind of where we're at on that case. Jennifer just jumped in, Lieutenant. She's talking about break-ins around 47th and Broadway. I assume, Jennifer, you're talking about cars?
Well, there wasn't enough of any to create a hot spot in that area. So not that there hasn't been any in that area, but just not enough to create a hot spot that would jump up and flag our system. Okay. So really, they happen all over. There's not a part of Wichita that's not safe, from any type of a car break-in, an auto theft, a burglary. That crime goes everywhere. So you got to keep that in mind. Just do what you can to stay safe, secure your property. Always have in mind, always just remember, there are literally people every day driving around just looking for the opportunity to take something from you. and you need to do what you can to ensure that doesn't happen, or to make the chances less that happens to you. So when you go out and you start your car and it's running in the driveway in the morning because it's cold, keep in mind there are people driving around literally looking for that. They are looking for running cars, and when they see them, they'll hop out. There's 2 or 3 people in one car. They drive around, they see a car running, they're out, and they've stole it within a matter of seconds. So keep that in mind with anything. I say people, you wouldn't leave your wallet in your driveway or your gun in your driveway overnight and then expect it to be there in the morning when you come out. So it's the same with leaving your car running. People wouldn't go into a convenience store and leave their wallet on the sidewalk outside the door, and then, oh, well, it'll be there when I get back. No, it's not going to be there. So keep that in mind and just do what you can. Some of this is easily preventable. That's all I got to say about that.
What was I going to say, Lieutenant? I had something right on what you were going to say, but I agree. Make sure that, you lock your things up. Don't leave them because you want to take that a little extra time so you're not spending, the next days, hours, months trying to work through, other difficulties you're facing because of having your identity stolen, things of that nature. Johnny talking about, yes, we did make an arrest in the Kayla Blackman's case, and also that was a very horrific case. It was a few horrific incidents that occurred late last week, this weekend. Our investigators worked tremendous hours, leading to multiple arrests on these cases. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Blackman's friends and families, others. There's the 13-year-old girl that was unfortunately killed on Kellogg. Our thoughts and prayers go out to that family as well. Our investigators working very hard, and we appreciate the community support and their help on these cases. Richard, I know I've talked to Richard several times through email, saying strong neighborhoods defined by neighbors doing what needed to stay safe, supporting neighborhoods. Yeah. If you have a neighborhood watch in your neighborhood, encourage you to participate. Get to know who the block captain is. If you're interested in starting one, you can always contact your local community policing officer. If you don't know who that is, go to wichitapolice.com, click on field services, go to community policing, type in your address, and it'll tell you right then and there. All right, back to some other questions. Lee, we'll just go with Lee.
Lee or Leith?
I don't know. Appreciate the question, though. Go ahead. You got something for that one?
For people who lack garage parking, how can they help mitigate catalytic converter theft? Park in well-lit areas. Park close to, if you're in an apartment, a townhome, a single residence, park as close as you can to your residence as well so you can hear it. Most of these people are going to be using a cordless Sawzall cut-off tool of some sort. It makes a lot of noise, but it does happen quick. Now, they do you can Google as well. They make this kind of a chain mesh aftermarket accessory that you can put on yourself around the pipe, around a catalytic converter. It's really tough to cut through. Things of that nature. Some of them you may have to have a mechanic install. So catalytic converter theft it happens so quick and it's so costly. It can cost probably average replacement for a catalytic converter is over $1,000. So surveillance cameras, if there's any way you can post a surveillance camera or anything around, have an alarm on your car of that nature. That any of that's probably going to help. So
what do you mean alarm? Like because alarms usually if somebody tries to get inside, right? Or is there like if somebody tries to rattle or if they use a saw on the
yeah,
exhaust,
there's some. Yeah, there's some, that are going to be kind of motion activated, or if the car gets, jostled, anything like that would probably set it off. So,
yeah. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to see where we're at here, Lieutenant. I was paying attention to what you were saying. Clary's asking about the Caleb Blackman case. We have made an arrest in that case. It's been presented to our district attorney's office right now. It's kind of where we're at in that case. Good morning, Lily. Lily's from KWCH asking how many we investigated since the beginning of the year. We'll get that for you. Give me just a second. I'll get that for you.
Richard, while you're looking up that, I see Richard Ruth is asking, does it make sense to increase penalties for stealing a car? Yes, obviously, or not obviously. I'm just saying there are other areas, other states that have a lot stricter laws, stricter penalties for auto theft. Kansas is one of those that it's pretty general. It's pretty vague. We don't even have a separate auto theft statute. It just falls under theft. Now, there is a misconception that it can't be charged as a felony, auto theft, and it can. It's just it's trickier to do. You have to be able to show the person that is driving the car, that's in the car, is the one that stole it. So a lot of times, a car is stolen on Monday. It's recovered 2 weeks later, being driven by somebody that didn't steal it. So you have a different charge there. For the felony auto theft charge, you have to be able to show that the person that's driving it at a later time is the same person that stole it. And sometimes that's pretty tricky to do. So a lot of times it does end up in a misdemeanor charge, of our temporary deprivation of property. But that's just one of the trickier parts of it. So,
Lily, I'm gonna have to get back with you. Sorry, I got a couple I got to update here. I thought my list was up to date, but it's not. I'll get back with you.
There you go. Richard Ruth has a suggestion there. He says, look up cat clamp for catalytic converter protection.
Not the animal cat. Catalytic converter clamp. Thanks, Richard. Appreciate that.
All right. Well,
how about recovered cars, Lieutenant? We don't talk much about that. Rebecca's asking.
Yeah, and she asks how often of the cars that are stolen then recovered are left inoperable. We find I wouldn't have the numbers for you. It's actually pretty low. Most cars that are recovered either in the condition they were stolen in or slightly damaged, with maybe the catalytic converter removed, or maybe the battery removed, or the tires. Very seldom do we find them where they're like completely stripped. That's a small percentage of the cases. So some of the times they're in the same state. Sometimes they're slightly damaged. Sometimes they're involved in hit and run accidents, and then sometimes completely stripped. So all states, but completely stripped is a small percentage. Okay. Most of the time, we're going to recover your car, and you'd be able to drive it home.
All right, appreciate that, Rebecca. Appreciate the question. Good one, Holly. Here, can parents be held responsible for crimes of a teenager?
We had it was either late 2019 or last year. No, it would have been 2019. There was a review a few years ago. Senate Bill 367 was passed in Kansas. That was kind of a sweeping juvenile reform bill. It dealt with juvenile crimes, juvenile arrests, detention, how long you can hold juveniles, what they can be held accountable for, what the parents can be liable for. And it was really just an overhaul of all juvenile policies. In 2019, we had a committee up in Topeka that reviewed it to look to see what was not working, what was, and what needed to be changed. So the legislature took some of that under advisement to look at. But with that Senate Bill 367, it just became tough to hold juveniles responsible and to hold parents responsible, is what it boiled down to.
Okay. Appreciate that, Lieutenant. It's like any tips for cars to be parked outside? Try to keep valuables out of sight. We have a motion light, but neighborhood keeps having bold thieves that don't seem to care about the lights or the cameras. I mean, definitely, if you see something suspicious, call us. I mean, if you're seeing an increase in this type of activity, I'd contact your community policing officer, let them know the information you're seeing. They can do a little bit more research, and perhaps they can meet with your block, meet with your neighborhood, and figure out additional resources or different ideas, perhaps to help reduce that activity. Lieutenant, what are your thoughts?
Well, I would say, yeah, keep them locked. Just make it tougher for people to get in. So many times we see surveillance video, or we have cases where, it's just kids moving through a neighborhood and they try every car on the block, and those that are unlocked, they get in and they rummage through, looking for valuables. So just keeping your car locked is probably the best preventative. Now, some will still break out a window just to get in there and rummage around. So don't keep, some people say just keep valuables out of sight. I say don't keep any valuables in your car. Just especially inside. And it still amazes me how many people keep their cell phones, computers, wallets, purses in their cars, guns. Don't keep anything of value in your car. So keep that in mind. Don't have anything in view. Even I've seen cars broken into for spare change. So
yeah. Actually, when I was in high school, mine got broken into.
Really?
They got no soda for me at lunch that day. Yep, I did. But yeah, I agree with the lieutenant, keeping those valuables out of your vehicle. And I mean, just go to the shopping mall or go to Newmarket Square or something. And as you walk in the store, just simply glance into cars as you're walking between them to go up to the business, and you'll see all kinds of stuff. And it could be a gym bag with a pair of gym shorts and a pair of socks. To you, you might think that's not a big deal, but to somebody who doesn't know it's gym socks and gym shorts, they may take the opportunity to break that window and take that bag, thinking perhaps it's a computer bag or something like that. So just keep those things in mind. A couple other questions. 13-year-old, the person individual was arrested. We arrested an individual on that. He had been arrested and convicted of previous felonies. I can say that. Woman shot at 55th and Broadway. I don't have anything on that. Do you, Lieutenant?
No.
All right. Peggy's wanting to know, a street light installed at the corner of our street. Always great to have lighting. Peggy, go to wichitapolice.com. Click on field services. Go down to community policing, type in your address. It'll tell you what beat you're on. Contact that community policing officer. He or she can get you in the right direction to have that done. That's all I'm seeing, Lieutenant. Do you see anything else?
Yeah. Nope. I appreciate everybody that tuned in, watched, asked questions.
And go Chiefs, I guess, next year, right?
Oh, yeah. There's always everybody's word. Oh, it's they wanted a dynasty. You can still, just because you didn't win the Super Bowl, you can still have a dynasty. They'll be all right.
That's right. That's right. We'll be back.
I don't think they're going to win it every year, but
I thought they were. I thought every year was it.
How about those happy though for Tom Brady to win another Super Bowl?
I know. Number 7. He's almost got one for every finger of his hands.
Yep. I got to admit, when he signed with Tampa Bay, I thought, there goes his Super Bowl chances.
You were wrong.
He turned that around.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
All right. Well, hey, thanks to everybody that tuned in. Appreciate it. And we'll see you next Tuesday, February 16th at 11 a.m. Same time, same place. And until then,
get your Valentine stuff ready.
Oh. All right. Stay safe, Wichita.